Hey, what's up, everyone? So there was big news today, and that is that the Nijisanji Ian Summer Jam and Welcome to Wonder World that was supposed to be held in Los Angeles on July 6th and 7th at the Peacock Theater during Anime Expo 2024 has been canceled. And why that may be. I think you probably saw other YouTube channels or probably heard that ticket sales were not that great. um, but the good news is that Nijisanji Ian Summer Jam will be shown free on the Nijisanji Ian YouTube channel. So same date and time, July 6th, 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and July 6th, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that is a positive right there. Welcome to Wonder World concert in LA. It was canceled, but they are trying to provide many live concert footage exclusively to those who bought tickets. Full refunds for the concert tickets will be processed, and they also are working on special perks to show their appreciation to those who showed their support by purchasing tickets. I know it's very it sucks to see this happen a week before the event, but my feeling about this is that I I do know from my work in the industry and working with, um, especially with Japanese uh, music labels, that sometimes the expectation is a bit high. Granted, a lot of these are businesses, they do want to make money, but sometimes it's just very difficult, especially when so many people are so used to going to concerts for free. Anime Expo, Pacific Media Expo, uh, Otakon, Anime Central. A lot of those concerts were primarily, with your admission ticket that you bought, you'd get to the concert in for free, right? Then they started doing these ticketed events, and when it's at small venues or a small room, that's possible to do. But even then, it's a harder sell. I do know that there's a popular Japanese boy group who wanted to go and perform at a convention, but the deal was they had to sell uh, 15,000 tickets. And our thoughts, especially my thought was, this is not going to happen. It's like that during negotiations. Sometimes they want 9,000 to 15,000 tickets sold, and a lot of the event holders, especially those in charge of the music, know that it's just a very, very hard sell, especially when they say, well, we want to do this, but we want to make money off it, but we want the convention to pay for their flights, to pay for their hotel, to pay for, pretty much pay for their stipend for food and everything. And then, then when they do have the concert, they will release a Blu-ray or DVD on it that they will make a profit of. So in a way, there's just a lot of demands that some Japanese music companies have for towards anime conventions, and sometimes just really difficult. I just remember times where working with a major, one of the top Japanese companies, and they would ask, "Hey, we're gonna be there. Do you think you can use your hookups to maybe get to know or get to meet, um, somewhere, in Hollywood or so, someone that may be affiliated with a major streaming company that begins with an H, and see if they'll be willing to do a deal, or we could work out something, but we need to know how much can we make from it." And that's how it usually is with negotiations with with the Japanese companies is how much can they make from it. Of course, it's a business, and it's totally understandable. But when I saw this, and when I first heard of it, the first thing that came to my mind is, okay, it's going to be an anime expo, and how many people realistically were they expecting to sell tickets of? From this event, because I can tell you right now with Anime Expo and being in Los Angeles, it's hard. It's very hard, especially for anime convention staff that really want to stay at the hotel or the convention grounds. Some people are able, they want to stay there so they can have fun, they can have parties, they can have cosplay events, and they can have all these other events happening at the same time. And before, when these anime conventions, you name it, different ones throughout the United States, there would be something at the location of where they were having a concert. And I know, in Los Angeles, I've seen the Hatsune Miku concert. There's been many other concerts that were held, but the question is that what is realistic, and compared to expectation. And yes, VTubing is very popular. We have a lot of solid VTubers who can definitely sing and definitely can perform, and that's a major plus. But this is not just VTubers; these are also major J-pop artists who come, and you start to get in these negotiations of who will bring out the most people. You could people are like bringing up the top names out there, and even then you start thinking, well, okay, if we bring this artist here, can you guarantee that these many tickets will sell? Of course, a lot of conventions, a lot of places will not want to guarantee that, because you just don't know. I know that one of the biggest turnouts for an anime convention, there's been a few, but I do know, let's say that way back years ago, Lark and Seal came. That was a huge thing. A lot of people came. TM Revolution, another one where a lot of people came. But even then, the Lark one was free. The TM Revolution, there were tickets sold that a lot of the fan club members got. But even then, having to sell a lot of seats. I mean, there was a lot of people, thousands, but it was more like several thousand versus 9 to 10 or 15,000. That's really hard to get. A lot of people that go to anime conventions, they save up for this convention, but the thing is that a lot of them don't have, a lot of them are kids that don't have much money, and if they do have money, they spend a lot on the hotel already. Well, hopefully they stay in a hotel with many people in it, and they can all sleep in the same room. But there's always something there that people are trying to to save their money. And it's understandable, trying to eat cheaply, especially in today's economy, right? Both Japan and USA, everything is very expensive now, and it's just the thing is that it's a different climate. Now you cannot compare what happens at Anime Expo or other anime conventions with something like KCON. The Korean fans for K-pop, or not Korean fans, but fans of K-pop in general, they will pay money for VIP seating, to be in the front seat of a concert, to go to meet and greets, to meet their favorite artist or band member, maybe high five or handshaking. And yes, K-pop generates a lot of money, and they are able to make that money. But you have to realize, you think about KCON or other concerts. Let's say that KCON itself, there's events going through the day, a lot of events. I mean, I'm not sure if any of you have been to a KCON event, but it's an event that they have. Even the artists are also participating in active panels, and then you have all these stars and celebrities there, and you have people doing the dances. You have people doing. You just have so much going on, and it's. I think if anything, you get a night full of popular K-pop groups, male and female. It's something that's going to generate money because a lot of people can go and get nosebleed tickets at the Staples Center for cheap, but still enjoy the concert. And people who have a lot of money, who want to pay for the meet and greet or get a lot of awesome merchandise, and also get those VIP sittings, they're willing to pay $1,000. So they'll fly out from everywhere because they get a chance to meet their favorite artists, to touch their favorite artists through handshake events and high fives. But that's just a different. It's just a different. You can't compare the two. And of course, they, with K-pop artists, they'll bring their top group. Like right now, we've seen what last year we have IVE come. I mean, we've seen, you just name a popular group right now, and they've been brought out already, most of them. And even if they bring an indie group, those indie groups still have a good fan following that they could put somewhere in between a major group, maybe a boy band, or a girl group, and still make a lot of money. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of conventions have been trying to do in the past, but they realize the expectations and the involvement is just not there with a lot of Japanese businesses. Trust me, I've been in many negotiations myself, and there's always times where, not just in Japan but in the U.S., it's just like, okay, where are we going to have this concert? Where can we, as long as we get the hotel, we want you guys to pay for the hotel for these many, for the hairstylist, the entourage, managers, the people there. There's just so many people, right? But the thing is that they'll say, okay, how many people at this convention? Oh, they only get this many people, about 35,000. Okay, well, if that's the case, then we're just going to bring out these artists. And sometimes it's not their top artist. It's always someone in the middle, or someone that they think, well, this may cross over with anime. It may not. But the thing is, they'll give you several choices that you can choose from. But the thing is, what's popular in Japan may not be popular in the U.S. So it's a tricky situation. And again, it's completely different from K-pop, where people. Here's another thing. Also, one thing that K-pop does better is that they allow their music to be played on YouTube and fans to watch it, to do reaction videos from it. Whereas J-pop, I could tell you right now, I have many reaction videos that I've done on YouTube, which are blocked because it's just a lot of Japanese labels. They're not like that. They don't care if you don't get to see their music video, because their main thing is, if you want to see the music video, buy the single. Because in Japan they release the normal single, a single that comes with a Blu-ray, and another single that comes with maybe a photo book. So they want you to buy all of them if possible. But the thing is that with K-pop, they usually do the music videos, and then when you buy the album, you get photo cards, photo book, or other merchandise in there. The videos are not the main focal point, and so in Japan, it's just that it's been such a focal point for so many, or way for what, almost 2 decades now, that they never got off it. And yeah, they're trying to do some other merch involved, but the thing is that every time you see a release, it's always focused. Okay, we'll put one song. They'll always put a song that's not in like album A or album B, or on the regular normal track. They'll try to mix them around so you'll buy them all. But then they say, okay, if you want the music video for the A side, you'll have to buy the CD A. And if you want to get the other track, the B track, then you got to get the other album. And so I think that's one thing is just different from Japan and Korea. And I mean, the way it is what it is. It's always been like that. There's been so many attempts to bring top artists to the U.S. And sometimes, you get some that's really popular. But what's popular in Japan, again, does it mean they'll be popular in the U.S.? As for Nijisanji, Ian, yes, they have a following. Hololive, yes, they do have a following as well. And as other VTube companies. But I think at this time, I just don't feel that it's not in the same category as, let's say that you're going to bring Creepy Nuts, who with their popular song, or if you bring out, even if Ado came, even if she, you don't see her face, but she was there singing live somehow. There's a lot of people out there that are familiar with those artists that will come out and say, hey, I know it from this anime series. That's definitely, I'm definitely going to that. But again, a lot of these anime conventions are smart enough to know that we want to give our patrons, or our people, our attendees, the chance to see them live, if they by purchasing a regular ticket, just a regular pass to our convention. While other bigger conventions, a lot of these labels or companies are saying, you know what, we want to make our money, we'll do it at this event, and we want you to, this, people, this will be separate from what people pay for their attendee ticket. And again, Nijisanji is not the only one. There have been other ones as well. It just doesn't pan out. There's just so many artists that have been tested by the labels, groups that have been brought out, and it's just not there. Those that do understand, and I will say it right now, Sony was one of the major companies that were doing very well with it, because they had an American-based office that worked with the anime companies. They traveled to these conventions. They got to see firsthand how things work, and I think that's one of the reasons why Sony had a strong lineup for so many years at anime conventions. Avex, the big one, also had a string, but at the same time, they were one of the companies that were always asking, well, how much can we make if we sold tickets, or if we did this or that, or they had these really, really unexpected realizations of I mean, I just remember that there were major attempts. Usually there's a convention called Anime Japan, and that's where a lot of the major I guess staff, you could say, go when they are in Japan. They get to meet with these companies. they get to they get around and meeting and trying to negotiate. Uh, and for the most part, I do know. I'm trying to be careful for my words and mention which artists, but let's say they're very huge. And there have been times where the negotiations were there, but the price of how much it would cost, what they wanted, plus per diem, per hotel, entourage, and everything, including, um, demands demands for certain areas, certain domes, or certain areas to be played at certain stereo systems. They wanted the best, and my gosh, it was very expensive. And some conventions really, said, you know what, we have a war chest, we'll do it. And for if anything, I think the positive that came out of that is while they didn't make a whole lot, and some lost money, but they were able to develop a relationship with that company because company said, you know what, you did this for us. You know what, we'll continue to support you by bringing our artists for many more years. So that's all I can say for now. But the thing is that yeah, with Nijisanji in, um, I think it was a bold attempt, and I think it was also a good testing ground to see what works and what didn't. But you know what? I wish the company the best, and because I know that they know that there have to be changes that have to be made, and usually Japanese companies are very strict with that, and they were very strict with the bottom line, and also wanting to make sure that that you know I have no doubt that they want to fix things right now, and I know that there have been troubles, and I know there's people who are like, well, how many days can they do things without getting in trouble? It's a common thing you see on YouTube from VTubers. But my feeling is, you know what? Um, in Japan, it's going to be very competitive. You're going to see more and more companies, try to do things, and I just, wish that, you know, just, again, what just because YouTube views are high does not equate in dollars. Just remember that. It's the same thing with K-pop as well. You'll see a lot of groups that get you know, a lot of page views, a lot of followers on YouTube. But in the long run, does it equal to sales of physical merchandise? And that's where a lot of them focus, where the money is. They make money off YouTube. Don't get me wrong, but even with the most popular K-pop groups, things are measured with digital sales and physical media sales and so forth. Nijisanji, they are cranking it with Nijisanji in Japan. They're doing a great job with merchandise sales. There's always events coming up almost every week. So that's one thing I do know is that Nijisanji Japan have been strong with that, and they've been trying to get their EN group also involved. And the most recent, press release was, of course, that Rakuten collaboration with NBA. So, the thing is that it's good to see them active, but I do hope for positive for a lot of these companies. Hololive, or Recover, Any Color, and all these other companies out there. There's so many of them now that it's hard to pay attention, but to all of them. But I think if anything, it's just that for me, I'm a person that wants to support as much as I can to get the word out and promote these companies and their VTube artists and VLivers. But it's the same thing also with J-pop artists and J-pop companies as well. Um, it's a hard business, and I think with VTubers, yes, it's very popular, but is it as popular to compete and do the similar things that major J-pop artists are doing in the U.S. or what Vocaloid artists are were doing in the U.S. It's just there's just so many things that could have been realized through a lot of oh my gosh, there's just so many people who are involved in booking a lot of these artists in the U.S. or even that go overseas to work with these Japanese labels, that they can just definitely ask questions and to see what works and what doesn't. And I think right now is just people, some companies have to learn the hard way, unfortunately. So, but that's my feeling. That's just my feeling of it right now. Again, it's for those who invested in tickets. I just hope that Nijisanji finds a way to continue to show support to these people, these fans who did pay their money and also got their tickets to fly out to LA just for this concert. It's a shame that this had to happen a week before, um, but things do happen, and I think even if it was 2 or 3 weeks, before, I think a lot of people probably got their tickets way in advance, while they were cheaper. So I again, it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing, and but you know what, all these fans who were hoping to go, I hope they have fun at Anime Expo. You're going to one of the largest conventions. Just prepare for the lines and the crowded atmosphere. But other than that, I think if anything, there's always a lot of events happening at the same time, and the fact that Niji Sanji is planning to do something on YouTube is great. I do hope that it's not a 1 day or 2 day thing. I know they said July 6th, but um, I think if anything, I wish they would do something where they would give the world a chance to enjoy this, because I think if anything, I think right now is a good time to build that faith and that trust, and just try to, I guess you could say the word is restart, but not necessarily restart, but more of you know refocusing and building that image that they had before. Again, I wish nothing but awesomeness for Nijisanji, and again, this is a tough thing for them, but it is what it is, right? So, okay, everyone, you all take care. Wink, wink, and